What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're gonna have a little look at my wish list. The reason this is getting the same sort of a thumbnail and stuff as all of my routines is because this is more of a yearly routine than a daily one. Essentially my wish list is just my grown-up letter to Santa. Let's be honest, that's what they are. So my wish list has more on it than I thought there was. But that's fine. There's allowed to be this stuff on there, and having looked through it, I'm like, yeah, no, I still want to know. Like, I still want some of these things. Like most of these things, I still want. So if I don't want it, as I go through the list, I'm just gonna, you know what I mean? So let's start at the top and work our way down. So on the very top of the list is a bamboo calming blanket. Might as well add one while it's top of my mind. I'm gonna add something else as the next item. But yeah, no, I want a bamboo I've got a calming blanket. I can take this off. What am I talking about? I have a calming blanket. It's just I've got a weighted blanket. I don't know if I would call that a calming blanket though. Maybe I should see how that goes in my quilt cover. Maybe that could be a thing. Okay. Number one's this could potentially leave. But second on the list is a sleep mask. I know that the company Blue Blocks has really a good one. And obviously, since I'm naming them, the link to that particular mask will be in the description down below, along with links to pretty much everything on this list, so you can sort of have a look at yourself. But yeah, a good quality sleep mask would be nice. At the moment, I've got this tried and true hero. The elastic's been so stretched that I've actually had to tie a knot in it. If we can see a little knot there. And even then, I think this is starting to get a little bit like I'm gonna have to tie another knot in it to get it to my head again. But I have had this thing since the beginning of 2013, so it's nearly a decade old, tried and true, and it came with a little like travel toothbrush, toothpaste thing, came with a pair of compression socks, etc., and was part of the like on-flight little gift thing from my Emirates flight when I went to Italy beginning of 2013. So kind of a thing that's like the plane flight might not seem like a lot to like a bunch of people, like, oh, you assume he's from Italy, probably more worth it. But this was my first international flight, first plane ride ever, so it's got sentimental value. I don't want to throw it out, but it's getting to the point where it's like I'm just gonna have to go on another plane ride and get another one to fill the same role because this thing is dying. So a good quality sleep mask is on the list, especially with moving to Sydney next year. I'm not sure how I'm gonna go with like earplugs or whether I'm going to need them. I guess it kind of depends on what part of the city I end up in. But a sleep mask 100% to help block out any external light that I'm unable to get out of my room. A sleep mask kind of eliminates the need for blackout curtains. So that's on the list. There's a company called Athame, and they do these little necklaces where you can get your birth chart in like a little, there's like a little pendant. That's the P word we're looking for. Yes, you can get your birth chart as a little pendant on it. I think that'd be really cool. A bunch of this early stuff's gonna be a bunch of witchy stuff. So there's that. There's a company called Wyvern's Hoard, and they have this really cool dice set. And they've got a tray that goes with it. I'm just gonna... It's been a hot minute since I went onto their website. Let's find their dice set. Here we go. I think there was one set in particular that I wanted. Trying to find them now is going to be the fun part. I think it might have been these ones. They're sort of prismatic and stuff, like they look pretty cool. And then you can get this cool little dragon tray. And I just think that having him, actually, does he come with those specific dice? Or is he just the... No, it's just the dragon. That's fine. But I think it was either the ones I showed you before or the dice that are actually in that image, which, as you can see, they're sort of this goldy colour, and they're really cool. So yeah, I think both of those things would be really cool. They're on my list. After that is just a bunch of altar stuff. So I would want I think I'd probably want either a stone or a wood carved pentacle, but I'd want it to be sort of a decent sized pentacle, essentially almost like a coaster sort of thing. I'd want a maybe like a white handled gold blade, Athame. I think that'd be really cool, just to get the colours of air, of yellow and white in there. I've got my wand that I'm going to use. So maybe a candle. Maybe I just want to get a red candle. Maybe. For fire, and I don't know if I want one of the like tapered ones or if I want like a chunky boy. You know what I mean? And then a blue chalice. I think a blue chalice would be really cool. What kind of colour would I have with that? If that's gonna be. And then I want to get an altar cloth that has the pentagram on it in black. I think that'd be really cool. Just to make my altar nice and colourful, and sort of nearly every colour of the rainbow is represented, with green and brown in the pentacle, yellow and white in the blade, red in the candle, blue in the cup, and then purple and black on the... You're only really missing, what, pink and grey. maybe if I could find like a blue, like the cup, it's like the actual container part of the cup is blue with like some really interesting metalwork. That could be really cool, depending on what it looks like. I think that'd be kind of cool. But I want that for my altar. Finish fully setting up an altar. I'm gonna have a bunch of photos and stuff I'm gonna take with me to Sydney, so they'll end up going on said altar. And then in the middle of the altar is probably where I'll put like I've got a plate that I bought. It's got a kookaburra, which I heavily associate with my nan. And I'm going to use that as like a key dish sort of thing. So it's going to be where my key goes. It'll be where my sunglasses. I've got my necklace. If I get my necklace, that'll go there. It'll just sort of be my little loose things dumping ground. Will probably also be on a little table that has like my charging station, so that my wallet can go there as well and that sort of thing. And I want to have that all sort of set up as a thing. It's just inside my door, in wherever it is I move to. I wouldn't mind getting some. I've got some of the things on here. I knew I did. I just haven't taken them off. I want to get some galaxy lights. You know, the ones that sort of put pretty star patterns up. I think especially for filming videos like this. Hopefully there will be less next year. I have organised what my upload schedule is going to be. I'm currently in the process of figuring out what those videos will be. So hopefully by the time 2022 comes around, I already know what each video will be. So much cool stuff. Yeah, so some galaxy lights. There's another, I've got to look for it now. All I've got written down is Dragon Chain. Oh, that's really cool. I don't know so much if I want a ring that glows in the dark, but the Celtic glow in the dark ring is still pretty cool. Yeah, I knew that they had a clock. Clock was pretty cool. They've got a dice bag. They've got plasma lighters. The gilded Celtic dragon ring looks pretty cool. I can't seem to find it. One way or the other, I've got something written down where it just says Wyvern Horde Dragon Chain. I can't remember what that looked like. I then want a Canon XF 400 camcorder. It is, I think at the moment, their latest model of camcorder. And by camcorder, I don't mean like little handheld, this big sort of thing. We're talking like the big boy with like the external mic ports, and you know, you actually need a tripod for it, etc. Which brings me to the thing I need to add on here. Oh no, it's on the list, cool. And to go with that, I want actually, is that for that, or is that for my current camera, my Nikon? That might be for my Nikon, I need to double check that. But I want an AFS 70-300mm lens. I think that's my Nikon. I'm just gonna double check that. So you're not quite ASF -S 73mm lens, and that is my Nikon. Okay, I was right. Oh, okay, cool. So then an Audio Technica content creator pack. I just have to remember what was in it. It has a set of headphones. It's got, what's it got in it? So it includes a condenser, a microphone, headphones, sorry. No, sorry. It's got headphones, a microphone. Go away, little ad thing. Go. When you press the bloody close button, it doesn't go away. A boom arm, tripod stand, and cable. The microphone itself is a condenser microphone. That's the condenser bit. So yeah. Everything I need to stream except the computer, basically, which is pretty cool. But I can also use that to do my podcast, which could be really, really cool. I would like a decent tripod. If I have to go with a specific brand, I wouldn't mind a Manfrotto. They are a little bit on the expensive side, but it's a wish list. It's not a I'm gonna get this list. It's a wish list. Any tripod at the moment will do, because the one I currently got for my camera is broken. So I need to get a new tripod. That should go up to the top of the list. There's then a book called The Vatican, Conspiracies, Codes, and the Catholic Church, which I just think would be a really interesting read. I love The Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons and Inferno. Like, I love those movies. I haven't read the books yet. They're on my list. I just haven't been in that much of a reading mood this year, or like throughout lockdown. It's been really weird. I've had the time to read, and I just haven't been in a reading mood. But you watch, as soon as I start studying, it's gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna read to calm down and relax and stuff. Especially with studying film, I'm gonna be all filmed out, so reading's gonna become like the this isn't work sort of thing. So that's on the list. Just looking up. So a Luckenbooth Brooch and a Claddagh Ring. These are more to just sort of represent my heritage, and also I think the brooch would be pretty cool on like my button-up shirts and stuff. I can just have it on like my little pocket sort of thing, or like depending on how big it is, I could just have it on one of my collars. And then the ring, depending on which hand you wear it on and which way it's facing, actually tells your relationship status, if you are aware of how Claddagh rings work, or are rather intended to work. But I have Scottish and Irish heritage, and I think these things would be kind of cool to have. There's another tarot deck I wouldn't mind getting. It's by a group called Phantom, and they have a multi-dimensional tarot deck. I will see if I can find it. Once again, jumping on the internet. Phantom multi-dimensional tarot. It's beautiful. Let me get a picture of these cards for you. Look at these. It's on Kickstarter. My phone wants to light up for you. Look at them. They're beautiful. We are looking at our major arcana here. So like, if it will let me, that one there in the middle is the Justice card. That's the one for my star sign. Yeah, they're gorgeous. I absolutely love them. And the back of the card looks like that. So there's no real way of telling which way's up and which way's down, which I like cards that do that. My Threads of Fate one don't do that. My Weaver Tarot, they don't do that. But my deck of Mystic Mondays cards do. They've got a star in the little gem shape on the back, and you can tell based on the star which way is up and which way is down, which means that I can look at the turned down cards. I mean, it kind of gives, I guess it sort of depends on who I'm reading it for. If I'm reading for myself, I like it to be a surprise. So if I'm doing my own reading, I tend to use my Weaver. If I'm doing it for someone else or trying to teach someone else, I'll use my Mystic Mondays, because then I can, without having to turn the card over to do their reading out of order, you know, sort of thing, I can show them like, so these cards here you can tell are upright. So these are going to give you more a sense of positivity. These ones are facing down, so these are going to give you more of a sense of negativity. But then that rule can obviously be flipped depending on what the actual card itself is. But it does make for a handy teaching tool. So yeah, kind of depends. Next on my list, well, I mean, if I'm getting the content creator back, I don't know if I really need that, but I've got a Hyperx Quadcast Mic on here. Hyperx Quadcast microphone, which is pretty, and it does a lot. But for 170 bucks, it would want to be really good. It's a USB condenser gaming microphone. If I'm getting the content creators pack, I'll already have that. But it's really sort of between get this and just use the headphones that I already have, or use the headphones that I will have when I upgrade to a PS5, or when I can actually finally go into a shop and buy one. Or it'll be a case of get the content creator pack and just use that stuff. Yeah, it all sort of depends. And then I would like to have specifically the Arcane spell deck for Dungeons and Dragons. Ideally I'd like to get all of them, but I know that the Arcane deck has all of the spells. I just would find it easier for myself to have the decks myself, so that if a player that I'm DMing for plays as one of those characters, I can like, here, you know, like, you're a paladin, here's your paladin spells that you can choose from, and then they can actually pick what spells they want depending on their level and have them sitting in front of them. And then the way I DM is that by preparing the spell, they prepare one use of said spell. I just find that it adds a little bit more of a strategy component to combat for my players, which they don't seem to mind. So I like that it does that, especially for the ones that have to consume something. And so it's a case of I cast this spell and then they would pass me the card, and at the end of the session all of the cards would go back into the pack anyway, so that after their long rest they've got all of their spells back and all of their spell slots back. So ideally I'd like all of the decks, but for myself, the Arcane, because I'm currently working on a wizard character. Having said that, the wizard token pack would also be kind of invaluable. That one. There's two on here that are probably going to disappear this weekend. The Player's Handbook and the Monster Manual. Already got the DM manual, so by getting those other two, I will have the 3 books necessary to actually create my own like from scratch campaign. I have a setting of already organized races, and like what races would exist there. Classes, I'm not gonna subtract any class. I'm not gonna say no, you can't be a bard, like that makes no sense. So by all means, particular instruments might change. So like instead of instead of like a lute or whatever, it'll be a lyre because it's based on ancient Greece. Instead of a flute, it'll be the pan flute, that sort of thing. So specifics like that are different, but the class can remain. So yeah, it's just a case of where will you start, and like how do these characters come together, and where will it go. It will very much be a dragon hunter type storyline. I already know that, because I've also sort of homebrewed, I think it was 14 different types of dragon, each one having a different sort of elemental ability, some being completely new, some being different. So for instance, the blue and I think it's the bronze dragon, both of which would normally be lightning damage. One of them now does lightning, one of them does thunder. So they both still have an aspect of that, but the 14 in total end up representing the 12 Olympians, plus, depending on which one you consider an Olympian, either Hestia or Dionysus, to make it as like the honourable 13th, and then Hades as well, doing necrotic damage. So there ends up being 14 dragons. They're all different colours, and they will do a different elemental damage type. And like Poseidon's is like a sea dragon that breathes a hot jet of water. And on a nat 20 roll of it attacking, it has the chance to drown or inflict like a drowning stat on the target creature. So yeah, working on that should be really fun. I want to get a let me see if I can find it. I tried bidding on one the other day for a lot less than that. But this bad boy, oh yeah. You might be looking at that being like, why does a 27-year-old want a vintage 1980s Goose biscuit jar. It's because my nan used to have one, and I had got it as part of my inheritance from her, and then in an accident involving myself and my sister, both of whom have different interpretations of how this series of events went, so I'm just going to, for purposes of this, say it was through no fault of anyone in particulars. At least I personally maintain that my sister's at fault, but she doesn't think that's the case. Anyway, the head part broke, so I would like to replace it. At the moment I've got some dumb tin biscuit lid, but you push too hard on it without the lid and the whole shape of the top warps, which means that it can be difficult to put the lid back on, and it can then become extremely difficult to get the lid off again. Whereas with ceramic, that doesn't happen. So I would like to replace my goose jar. I do like that the listing for that one that I covered up the price for, because that was not the price that I had bid on for this other one. But yeah, I would like to replace that. But it called it a duck, that listing, and that's what we used to call it as kids. I then want to get myself another routine journal. Down here, one of these. This back half of the year, looking awful quiet, but when I get one next year, I know I will use it because I'll have class 3 days a week, and then probably work, and then also group projects on like Thursdays, and reason to use it, reason to actually take it to class and write it. I'm probably going to end up getting, because the House of Routine also has like a weekly planner, which I can have at home, so I can come home and be like, okay, cool. So I wrote down in my diary today, during class, this is happening on this date, and I can put it down on my weekly planner, so that when someone asks me, hey, are you free this weekend? Nope. Or, currently, I'm open. It'll also be good because it'll mean that I know when I'm working, because I can write down my shifts. A weekly plan is just a good thing to have, and I'll probably, if I'm going to get both of those things, I'll probably go ahead and just get myself another questions for myself, and sort of start at one, work my way through, but I'll probably actually sit down and number them if I'm going to do that. For the moment, that one's fine. I'm going to continue working through it. We'll see how we go. I then, to sort of finish this up, there's a bamboo water bottle flask thing at work that has got my eye. I'm probably going to get it tomorrow. So this will probably end up not being on my list as of tomorrow. And at the same time, I'll probably, in that same purchase, get some gifts for 2 of my mates up here. So yeah, and then last but not least, on my list is the new Blue Eyes Toon Dragon pop and the new Dragonite pop. I could finally have a Pokemon in my collection. I was kind of hoping it would be Dratini. Dratini's my boy. loved Athame. I mean, Gengar's my boy too, and he's gonna be like the exception to the I want Dragon Pops rule. If they make a Gengar, I am pre-ordering that thing, because number 94 represent. Yeah, it's really funny that he's number 94 and I was born in 1994. And like, even before I like officially knew that and had like made the connection and stuff, he was always my favorite Pokemon. Like, I remember that episode of the anime and I was like, these guys are so cool. And then Gengars don't fly or move through solid objects or any of that really cool stuff in the games. I guess they just had to nerf him a little bit because he's so cool. But yeah, that's my list. However many things that was, that's my list. Once again, links will be in the description if you want to have a look at any of these things more closely yourself. If you are new here, hello, welcome. Please hit the subscribe button if you enjoyed what you saw. While you're up there, ring that notification bell as well. It turns on the push notifications so you can stay up to date when I upload new videos. If you enjoyed this one, please smash that like button for me. It would be greatly appreciated. Let me know in the comments what are the top 3 things on your Christmas wish list for 2021. And until next time, guys, keep your head screwed on.